slaves in the fishing industry, in the lumber industry. But my book is not only about slavery, it's also about a time, a fascinating time for humanity, when the Western world was changing because of the French Revolution, the American Revolution.
Interesting, there was a statue of Simon Bolivar in the second floor of the presidential palace in Haiti, because when his first failed attempt to liberate Latin America, he fled to Haiti. And they said in Haiti, the Haitian government at the time, the new republic, said that they would outfit him with a new force to return to liberate Latin America if he promised to abolish slavery if he won.
I didn't know that. It didn't come out in my research. But it's true, it was the first independent republic in Latin America, long before Chile or Venezuela or Mexico.
How was it to write this book as Katrina happened, and then now finishing the book, publishing the book, and this earthquake that devastated Haiti took place?
I wrote a story that happened many years ago, and of course when I was doing the research I had no idea that this was going to happen. Katrina had already happened, but not the earthquake. And the book came out last year in many languages, so it's only for the English version that it coincided with the earthquake. And it's a sort of eerie and horrible coincidence, because a month later we had the earthquake in Chile. So it's been a tragic year.
You went to Chile recently, right after the earthquake.
Yes.
Can you talk about that trip? What did you see? What was it like?
Well, first of all, when we landed, the airport had been damaged. It didn't collapse, but it was damaged. So they had tents, and we had to wait in the plane until the tent was free for us to go through. And then in Santiago, there wasn't much damage. The damage was in the south. The south is devastated. I mean, people are homeless. The winter started. It's raining. And the government, of course, is trying to repair hospitals and roads and communications. What's interesting is that when I got there still was no electricity in the south in many places. And if there's no electricity, today there's no communication, because everybody has a cellular phone, but you can't charge the telephone after 10 hours. And so you can't call anybody. And even the police and the armed forces had switched all their old radio system for the new cellulars, you know. Nobody could communicate. So it's been very hard. But Chile is prepared. We are used to it. If we don't have a tragedy in, let's say, 5 or 6 years, we start feeling really uncomfortable. We worry.
We're going to come back to this discussion. Isabel Allende is our guest. She is the best-selling Chilean author. Her latest book, her first novel in 4 years, is called Island Beneath the Sea. She's speaking tonight in New York at Union Square at 7 o'clock. And I have been there when you at Barnes & Noble have spoken. The place is packed out. Tomorrow you're heading to Philadelphia and going on from there. We'll link to her tour at democracynow.org. But we'll be back with her in a minute.
Gracias a la vida que me ha dado tanto, me dio 2 luceros que cuando los abro perfecto distingo lo negro del blanco, y en el alto cielo su fondo estrellado. En las multitudes el hombre que yo amo. Gracias a la vida que me ha dado tanto, me ha dado el oído que en todo su ancho graba noche y día, grillos y canarios, martillos, turbinas, ladridos, chubascos.
Chilean singer Violeta Parra singing Gracias a la Vida, thanks to life. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman with Anjali Kamat. Our guest is Isabel Allende. Her new book, just out in English, is Island Beneath the Sea. Did you write it in English or Spanish?
In Spanish only. I can't write in English. I mean, a novel is something that happens here, not in the brain. So I could write maybe something that is non-fiction in English, but fiction I do in Spanish, and then I have a great translator who is now 83. So I will write for as long as she can translate.
You, this weekend, are traveling with your book. There were mass protests around the country around immigration, protesting the Arizona law. Can you talk about this immigration debate and what you think needs to be done?
Well, I think it needs to be put on the table. We need to discuss, and we need everybody that is affected by this to be together. This country was made with immigrants. Everybody, all of you are immigrants, all of you, except Native Americans. And every new wave of immigrant that has come to this country, especially if they have a different color, have been received with aggression. We are all in love with the idea of immigration, and we hate immigrants. That's the truth. And so now we need everybody that is Hispanic, and I'm calling you, please, get together with one sentence, one word that will keep us all together on the same foot. Because this is something that needs to be discussed. It's like, you know, it's like racism, that you cannot put it forever under the rug. You really need to bring it to the surface and talk about it. We need laws to.
What was it like for you to move here?
Well, in my case, it was different because I didn't move following the American dream or running away from a horrible situation as most immigrants do. Why would anybody leave their families, their land, their language, everything that is familiar to them? They only do it because they're desperate. There's no other reason. And they wouldn't come to the United States if there wasn't jobs here. So people are benefiting from this labor that is very cheap and has no rights. And so they want the labor, but they want them to disappear at 6 o'clock, to be invisible, to have no rights, nothing. Just do the work and shut up. And for me, it was different because I didn't come here to work or following the American dream. I came up because I fell in lust with a guy. And then I forced him into marriage, so I've been legal always. So in my case, it's different.
And let's go back to Chile. What's your assessment of the new government, the billionaire president, Sebastián Piñera?
I'm very sorry that the Concertación, the governments of center and left, that it's a coalition of parties that have governed for 20 years and done an excellent job and did not win the election. But Sebastián Piñera is just started with a country that has had a catastrophe. We cannot judge him. We have to wait and see what he does. He's not doing a bad job, not yet. And maybe he's not. So I hope he won't. I think that Chile needs everybody. Michelle Bachelet, our last president, was the first woman president in Chile. Socialist, agnostic, single mother, just a woman that everybody loved. She left the government after 4 years with 84% approval in the polls. That's unheard of in Chile, where everybody is complaining all the time about everything, especially about the government. So why would Piñera win the election with this incredible popularity of Michelle Bachelet? We don't know. We don't know.
And now Michelle Bachelet is at the University of California, Berkeley. She's just traveling in the area, the former president of...
Everybody wants her now. Every country wants her now.
Well, I wanted to ask you about the Spanish human rights judge Baltasar Garzón. He's facing trial in Spain right now, where he stands accused of overreaching his authority in a probe of human rights abuses during the Spanish Civil War and the Franco regime. Garzón is known around the world for taking on international human rights cases. His actions include indicting Osama bin Laden for 9/11 attacks, probing the abuse of U.S. prisoners at Guantanamo, and ordering the arrest of the former Chilean dictator Augusto Pinochet in Britain in 1998. Last week, rallies were held worldwide in support of Garzón. In Chile, human rights activists gathered at the Spanish embassy in Santiago. This is Lorena Pizarro, president of the group of relatives of disappeared detainees.
Hemos venido a manifestar al señor embajador nuestra preocupación y nuestro rechazo.
We have come to demonstrate our concerns to the ambassador and our rejection of the unjust persecution that Judge Baltasar Garzón is a victim of today. Today we see that the same powers that once sought impunity for human rights violators in Chile are the same powers as the criminal right wing in Spain, who today persecute the judge who has made international human rights his work.
She was speaking from Chile. Could you comment on the significance of Baltasar